Pre-upgraded premium colors just for calling today. A beautiful new walk-in shower is now within reach. Call 800-921-1403. That's 800-921-1403.
Getting out of the military, I was missing this camaraderie.
It's frustrating when you try and talk to people that don't understand.
I would be talking, but I wasn't there with them. You just feel so alone.
I still had the anger, I still had the addictions, but we didn't talk about that.
Came to a point where it's like, okay, I really need to talk to somebody about this.
Family more or less encouraged me, go to the VA, you're a veteran, see what they can do to help you.
When you have family, friends, when you have the facilities like the VA and the Vet Center, it gives me, it gives others encouragement to keep moving forward.
It's okay to go get help. It's okay to talk to people because it takes true strength to ask for help.
Talking with other veterans was the best method for learning the roadmap to success.
Hear veterans' real stories of strength and recovery at MakeTheConnection.net.
Local, state, and national sports scores and opinions on ESPN Pensacola Sports Drive, starting now.
Welcome in. This is Sports Drive with Kate. Good morning. Good Monday morning, the day after the holiday. Some people still celebrating, I'm sure. Everybody's still with their families and all of that. I want to know what you did, what was fun for you this Christmas, sports related, what was fun? Just let me know. Give me a call this morning, 850-623-1330. This is Sports Drive with Kate right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. So, tons of football throughout this college week. Sorry, I'm trying to get a few different people on the line having some calling issues. We're waiting for Colin Jeter, going to be joined by him. And then we'll also join Michael Lewis and Will Kennedy during this show today. So just waiting for a few people to call over this way. We'll see. It's hard to run a show without having a studio guest, but give me a ring this morning. We're waiting on a call from a few right now, so hopefully we see those coming in, but let me know what you think. Good morning. How are you, and who do we have this morning? Is this Colin?
Hey, Kate, this is Colin.
Hey, Colin. So on the line with us right now, if you're just joining into ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, on the line with Colin Jeter. Colin, former tight end in the NFL, dear friend, played for the LSU Tigers, the Bucks, the Seattle Sea Dragons, and had such a great career. So I hope you had a lovely Christmas, Colin, and thank you so much for coming on kind of last minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, tell me about your holiday weekend. Do you spend that one in Texas? And kind of what did you do this Christmas holiday, since we're on that topic so far?
Oh, shoot. We actually stayed down in Louisiana this year. We kind of flip-flop back and forth. Sometimes I go home, back to Texas, but this year I ended up staying in the state just because kind of a busier end of the year this year. But I don't know, just hung out with my fiance's family, and my mom actually came downtown, so we did the whole deal with Christmas parties and white elephant games and all that fun stuff. So it was a good Christmas season and really get into the year 2023.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I still have a few days in the year, but we kind of did the same thing. We did Thanksgiving with my boyfriend's side of the family, then we did Christmas in Mobile, so it was a lot of fun. And just I have a very big family, so a lot of chaos. We also did White Elephant, so I don't know if y'all do the one where you have to pull a gift and it's a gift that you may not want, so then people are stealing because of that, or if y'all pull a nice gift. Which one do you guys do?
Well, we did everything's wrapped up, so you can obviously either grab a gift, or you can steal. The only rule is you just can't grab the gift that you brought. You know,
Okay.
some people will buy stuff
So,
so.
so I have to know, and we're off topic. If you are just tuning in, we have Colin Jeter, former tight end in the NFL. Off topic for a second, but we've got to talk a little Christmas. He said his family does a white elephant. Mine does too. We wrap ours up too. You can't pick the gift that you gave. So we had a $30 to $40 limit this year. So one, I want to know what you gave, and two, I want to know what you won, and then I'll share mine, and we'll get into some football talk.
Oh, okay. Well, we did a similar limit. It's like $30. So I gave some like truck ratchet straps because I feel like you just can't ever have enough of those.
Wait, what is it?
And
A truck?
Yeah, ratchet straps. It's what you
Oh,
strap.
ratchet
you know,
straps.
yeah.
Okay, I've got you. Okay, this is definitely
Yeah.
a Southern man gift.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
go ahead. And the next thing.
Yeah. And then I ended up wanting a big, like really nice cutting board. I think it's called Booze Block. It's pretty thick, heavy duty deal. But
That's
it was nice. So I ended up
yeah.
with something.
Well,
Yeah.
it's always fun
Yeah,
to do those things with your family. I think we sort of started doing it because our family was so large, and then we said, well, it's just getting ridiculous to buy every single person a gift. I mean, it's a big family. They still do that, even though they say they don't. And then we do white elephant. So we had a $30 to $40 limit. $35 worth of scratch offs and and then a thing that came in with a donation to the American Heart Association and some chocolate. And then I won this little miniature thing where you can make like a little miniature fire, like it's contained, and make s'mores and stuff. You can do it even on your porch or something like that, which I thought was kind of a cool gift. So there it is for the gift exchange for both of us here this morning. While we're speaking of it, a lot of the players and quarterbacks specifically gifted their either linemen or something like that all gifts for Christmas. Now, Colin, I don't know if this was something that you followed, but I want to say maybe Miami. Tua gave all of his linemen golf carts. There was another guy who, I mean, they just, these guys, they get paid pretty good money. Maybe everyone outside of Brock Purdy, and we'll get into that in just a second. But the quarterback position usually in the NFL is the one that's making some pretty good money. So what was the gift that was given by one of the NFL players to their teammates that you were most impressed with this season, and then I guess overall, because this is a trend that's been going on for years?
Yeah, well, the main two, I don't know if I saw any outside of I saw Patrick Mahomes gave the custom golf cart.
Okay, that was Patrick Mahomes. Okay, for some reason I
yeah.
Tua. Okay.
And then I saw that McCaffrey ended up buying custom golf clubs for everybody on the 49ers because they said what I saw was that they said Brock Purdy didn't make enough, and I was like, he still makes $870,000 a year, It's
could
not
at
like
least
he's
get some
pinch.
stockings with some candy or something, some
I
liquid
mean,
IVs and some.
Yeah, people don't make $870,000 in their life, and
I would love to see $870,000. I'd be ecstatic with it.
Yeah, so I guess to me, as someone who enjoys golf, and I think the golf clubs that was a pretty cool idea. I mean, I guess the golf carts I've seen a few years, so the golf clubs are more intriguing to me. I also saw where Josh Allen's offensive line actually bought him a ATV. They kind of did the opposite for once. Normally it's the quarterback buying everybody things, and looks like up in Buffalo they did the opposite and got the quarterback something. So that was a pretty cool idea as well.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. I guess maybe just like whoever has the most money on the team. I'm just kidding. But regardless, it's nice to see that, in the NFL and within the sports. How much does it help on the field? I don't know. As far as for the 49ers, wasn't much help yesterday. So we've got to get into this one. Ravens, 49ers last night. Just, I don't know. Are you ready? Just kind of lay out your general thoughts on this one.
Yeah. I mean, clearly it was a beatdown, just good old-fashioned beatdown on Monday Night Football. Ravens got a good thing going, and I think this probably projects Lamar Jackson into the MVP talks now. They had Brock Purdy as the favorite. I'm sure that'll change. He threw 4 picks and got hurt and didn't look very well last night. I will say, he had the tip pass of the pick. He had a couple things go the wrong way, but Purdy's still a good player. Don't get me wrong. They just ran into a bust-all of a team last night. I mean, I guess the Ravens are going to be the top team in the NFL. I guess the favorite to win it all. But it was a good game. It wasn't quite, I think, what people were expected. But yeah, still fun football, especially on Christmas night.
Yeah, I think that people were looking for more of a dominating performance from the 49ers. And yes, Purdy did throw 4 interceptions, but yeah, a couple of those were tipped. He was pretty hard on himself, after the game. Hey, I need to do better. I've got to, look within and figure out what those mistakes are and vice versa. But I don't know. Look, the 49ers are still sitting in a fine spot as far as the playoff goes. But I think this now at least gives the San Francisco 49ers something to now go back, look at themselves in the mirror, and really look at those things that they need to improve upon as they look ahead to go into the playoffs. And with me saying that, I don't know, Colin, if you've got some certain things that you think that if the 49ers don't start doing, what are those things? And if they don't start doing those things, do they have a chance at continuing, once they get into the playoffs, continuing that playoff run? Do you think that any of that's going to affect them?
Not necessarily. I think, sometimes in sports and in life, it's just not your night. And I think that's kind of an example of last night. I don't think the 49ers put on a normal performance. I think, when you have 4 turnovers like that, and maybe, I remember there was fumbles as well, but anytime you have 4 turnovers in a game, you're more than likely not going to win it. That's just kind of how it goes. Turnovers are a massive part of the final score in football. And like I said, if you give up 4, you're just more than likely not going to be in the game. And they got the 2 picks were pretty early, so they kind of fell behind. And obviously the Ravens capitalized on everything. So I don't know. The 49ers have so many playmakers everywhere. Running back, both receivers are studs. Even their fullback's a great athlete. Obviously Kittle at tight end. They've got playmakers everywhere. And it just kind of seems like last night they were off for whatever reason. They started hot. The opening drive of the game, they drove down the field and then they threw the pick in the end zone. So it kind of looked like it was going to be a beat down the other way. But that's just football. I think the 49ers are fine. I think they need to get Trent Williams healthy at left tackle. I saw he had a groin injury last night. But I think they just kind of need to, watch the film, leave that game behind them, and just move on. They're going to be fine, especially in the NFC. But clearly the favorites. I don't know who can really compete with them in the NFC, to be honest with you. The Cowboys and Eagles both seem to play lackadaisical football right now. So we'll see. Yep, last night may have been a football. It might be a Super Bowl rematch coming up in February, and I'm sure the 49ers will want to bounce back off of that bad performance.
Yeah, no, it may be. And again, if you're just tuning in, Colin Jeter, former tight end with the NFL. This is ESPN Pensacola. You said there was like 3 or 4 things, and I was trying to write all of them down to talk to you about. I think one of the first ones is you said with this win from the Ravens that now people will finally say, okay, well, we'll probably start talking about Lamar Jackson to be an MVP candidate. But so let me just ask you this. Do you think he was not being considered as an NFL MVP candidate before that?
I think he was a candidate. I don't know. The way the world works, it's kind of whose name's hot at the time. Like you said, the 49ers are playing incredible football, so of course their players are going to be projected to the top. And Purdy was leading in a lot of statistical categories, so it just kind of made sense that the quarterback on the best team in the NFL is always going to be in consideration, and most of the time wins it. So for the Ravens to go last night and beat the best team the way they did, now people, of course, are going to consider them the best team. And Lamar Jackson played great, as he always does, and I just think that's a natural fit. I think that bumped him up at least, the top two, MVP-wise. I don't know. To me, Purdy's a great player, and yes, he leads a lot of statistical categories, but the best player on the 49ers offense is McCaffrey. I mean, he's unreal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say in my mind, the three favorites for MVP now would be Lamar, McCaffrey, and Tyreek Hill in Miami. Tyreek's a freak of nature. That dude, if the Dolphins didn't have Tyreek, they'd be like 6-5 right now. I just think he's that good of a player. He's that dynamic, and obviously it shows that when you watch the Chiefs play football now and how abysmal they are at receiver compared to what they used to have.
Right. It's true. It really is what Tyreek Hill has been able to do for the Miami Dolphins, what Christian McCaffrey means to the 49ers, what Lamar Jackson means for the Ravens, and thank God the Ravens still have Lamar. I'm sure they're finally really happy that they do. I think you're right. What's interesting sort of about what you said, it's about whatever's hot at the time. And again, if you want to call in and ask Colin or myself a question this morning, you can do that, 850-623-1330. Again, that number is 850-623-1330. Call us, text in, ask us a question if you have one. We're talking NFL football right now, talking Ravens and 49ers. But, you mentioned it's when we were talking about the MVP candidate race, Colin, that it's who's ever hot that time. This is what I also think in kind of mainstream media, which I guess from time to time, yes, I am a part of. But when you say whatever is hot that time, that's everything. Most of the time, any journalist, anyone who's covering, it's the same stories. You hear them all day long. So you'll tune on the TV this morning, and starting from the morning, there'll be story, and then it goes all day. Then the next day, and it's like everyone's reporting on the same thing. And for example, one story, I keep hearing all the time, or recently, it's like, oh, well, what's wrong with the Eagles? The Eagles aren't playing their best. Something's wrong with them. They're not going to, and it's kind of how I'm doing and sitting here with you right now. What does that do to a team or a player's mindset when those kind of conversations are happening, either about the team that you play on itself, or if it's directly circulating about you? I don't know if you can kind of take us there, what that does to the psyche of the athlete or the team as a whole when there is so much swarming about that. What are your thoughts on how that's handled?
I think most teams do a good job of keeping that outside of the locker room. I think from a player standpoint, you don't really pay a lot of attention to that. Obviously, with how easy it is in the media world today to, with social media and everything, you're going to see it. So it's not like you're going to avoid it completely. But I think most teams know that there's a lot more to the game than what's said in the media, especially when you break down the film. You kind of see the ins and outs of what's going on. In my mind, what it affects more is the fans. Like for instance, the Eagles were playing at home last night, and for a couple weeks now, people have been talking about how sloppy they've been playing. So they go out and they have a drive or two where they're playing sloppy, and the fans start booing. And Philadelphia is an outlier, but that happened to us at LSU. We had two quarterbacks, kind of controversy going, and the media had started up getting the backup quarterback to start playing. And I'll never forget the starting quarterback opening up a game our opening drive of the game, he didn't even play yet. He jogs it on the field, and the whole stadium boos him. That kind of stuff. So I think it affects the fans, and because it affects the fans, your home stadium can kind of almost play against you. If they don't like what they're seeing, and it's been weeks of that, then they'll let you know. And there's no avoiding it on game day. There's no avoiding the 100,000 or 60,000 or however many are in the stands in the particular stadium. But it certainly affects kind of the crowd. And like I said, you can't really avoid it as a player, but most teams do a good job avoiding it. So I would say less on the players, but more on the fan base around the teams.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point with the booing. So last night, the game at LSU you're talking about, the Saints have been booing Derek Carr this season while he's been playing inside of the Superdome. I don't like this from fans. It brings up an interesting point because I get it. We're all passionate about the game. You want to bring everything to it. But and I get people boo for certain things. But, I mean, sometimes it becomes another level, especially if it's been a long day and fans have been out partying. It's just something different. But it is one of the reasons that sports is the way it is, and sports is entertainment, and we always enjoy getting to watch and cover these games. Right now, on the line with Colin Jeter, former tight end in the NFL and in college on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. I'm Kate Thomas, but we're going to be right back after these messages.
Honesty is our policy. That's the slogan at Bobby Likas Auto Service, and for good reason. They are the premium auto service center in town. No matter what kind of vehicle you drive, Mercedes or pickup truck, Lexus or Chevy, Bobby Likas Auto Service needs to be your first choice for service and repairs. Folks, for maintenance and repairs on your car, I trust Bobby Likas Auto Service on Davis Highway and at carclinicservice.com.
Are you looking to hire someone with proven world-class job skills? Well, there are some very qualified candidates out there, America's wounded warriors. These men and women are eager to get back to life at home and a good job, which is why Wounded Warrior Project developed the Warriors to Work program. It helps wounded warriors translate their military job experience to the civilian workplace. To hire a proven professional, contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families, and one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Talking to your kids about the dangers of vaping can be hard. Getting them to listen to hot gossip is easy. So here's some drama you could share with your kid. Dude, did you hear about Cassie and Jake? No, but did you hear that vaping can cause irreversible lung damage and nicotine affects brain development? Nuh-uh. You don't need to gossip if you want to have an open conversation about vaping. So if you want to get tips on when and how to talk to your kids, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Want to win a signed Chris Wenke jersey? Download the ESPN Pensacola app, register, and then enter to win. From ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to the Sports Drive. Call or text your thoughts to 850-623-1330.
Welcome back into Sports Drive with Kate. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. I'm your host, Kate Thomas. And we've got Colin Jeter on the line with us. Colin, welcome in again. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, right after Christmas, bright and early. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're just tuning in, we are talking a lot of football. Obviously had a ton of NFL football this weekend. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head because Colin is originally a Texas guy. So, are you a Cowboy fan?
Yeah, I would say so.
He would say so. Okay, so let's talk about your Cowboys then. Um,
Uh-huh.
you just gave a great compliment earlier in the first segment about Tyreek Hill, the game he's been playing, what we've seen from him. Cowboys, they've been a big point of conversation, really more so up probably until their loss on Sunday. But what have you seen from the Cowboys so far? How big of a loss is their loss this past Sunday to the Cowboys, and what they have going on for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bigger loss than I guess maybe it seems, because that was a chance for them to catch up with the Eagles and, really fight for the division. I think with the Eagles winning and the Cowboys losing, it kind of makes it tough, especially because Dallas has to play the Lions this weekend. That's not an easy matchup by any means. So I don't know. I think this weekend the Cowboys had plenty of opportunities to win the game. They had they had a turnover at the goal line. They got stuffed at the goal line. Just couldn't quite get it done. And mistakes like that cost you, and penalties cost you, and that just kind of seems to be what happened to the Cowboys in Miami the other night. Obviously, Miami's got a great team. They're going to be a great playoff team. But that was a real opportunity for Dallas to prove that they can win on the road, and once again, they didn't. So it's kind of bizarre how much different the Cowboys play at home versus on the road. If they got to the playoffs and were able to play a home game, then I think everyone's riding with the Cowboys. But if they have to travel anywhere, I'm not sure if anybody will. So they've got to get some things cleaned up. Obviously, they've got to play the Lions this weekend. I'm not sure if that's a home or an away game. But either way, big-time matchup, and they're going to prove themselves if they want any sort of momentum rolling into the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they play the Lions at home, which is helpful for them. And then they go on the road to play the Commanders after that. Yeah, the Lions-Cowboys at home, that'll be a good one for the Cowboys, just the fact that it is being played in Arlington. When teams are struggling on the road, I get look, you're on the road, you're tired. Anytime just anyone travels, I think in general, even just for a short travel, it's exhausting. Is that what you think goes into when you see a team a lot of times struggling on the road? Is it just probably a variety of factors too? For you, when you went on the road, what was your biggest challenge?
That's what I've always kind of has interested me as a player is I don't really get why it matters. In my mind, I'm like, you play the same game either way. Sure, there's some things that are harder, like on offense to communicate. It's tougher because you've got the crowd cheering while you're out there. A home game, they stay pretty quiet. It's easy. You can run any sort of snap count. It can be verbal. It can be silent, kind of whatever you want to do. But when you're on the road, most times it's got to be silent snap count just because the crowd's so loud, you're not going to hear it anyways. You got to do little things like that, and obviously the travel is an extra step. Plane flights dehydrate you, so you have to stay on top of that, and it's just more of a journey, I guess, for an away game. But I've always kind of thought in my mind, outside of the cadence and maybe just momentum of the stadium, but it's the same game. You can play it anywhere. It's football. So that's always intrigued me. But I would say, I guess just dealing with the home crowd cheering against you while you're out there, and the offense kind of having an easier schedule the day or two before, just because they don't have to travel. I guess that's really what makes the difference. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I've kind of always thought against the grain when it comes to that. But that's football. It's nice to play at home. It's nice to have a good home crowd, and obviously that's why. In my case, LSU was a great stadium, great home crowd that we always seem to win in. So it plays a part. I'm not sure why, but it does.
No, it definitely does. I'm sure part of it is just comfortability, just being a place that you're used to, that you feel comfortable in, and all of those things. We are coming towards a break. I want to get your thoughts. We may not have time just this break. Maybe we'll keep you for another minute or two, but wanted to talk a little bit about Texas playing in the college football playoffs. You're a Texas guy. You can give me about a 30-second preview real quick, Colin.
As far as Texas playing Washington?
Mm-hmm. Or we can go to break and we'll bring you back on and we'll do one little recap of Texas and Washington. Up to you.
Yeah. Well, no, I'll give you a little 30 seconds. I do think Texas wins the game. I think they've got a little more firepower. And I think they're a little bit more beefed up. I think they can match well against Michigan and Bama. But I don't know. Washington, to me, I just don't quite see it. I know they beat Oregon twice, and Oregon's a great team, but it's just a little different. They just seem a little lighter in the butt. I guess I'll say keep from saying a cuss word on here, but yeah, I like Texas in that. I think they got more firepower. I think they're built a little bit bigger up front, and I don't think it's a big win by any means, but I think they end up prevailing. So Washington's had a great season. Penix is a great player, but I just don't think they can match up. So that's my 30 seconds.
Thanks, Colin, so much. We appreciate you, and we'll be talking to you soon. Definitely appreciate it. Have a good one.
Yeah.
This is ESPN.
What's happening on the field, the sidelines, to the locker room? It's your chance to be a part of the conversation and let your war chant out. It's Tomahawk Talk, Wednesday from 9 till 10. Tomahawk Talk, brought to you by the law firm of Gross & Schuster.
Now it's time for another tip from ADX Digital, your comprehensive digital marketing partners.
Many businesses in our area ask us point blank, why do I need you, meaning ADX Digital, to do my business's digital marketing? Why can't I just do it on my own with Facebook and Google? Well, just because you can does not necessarily mean you should. The reality of it is digital marketing is constantly changing, growing, and evolving. Are you up to date with the latest advancements, trained in the latest technologies and platforms? Do you really have the time to design all the ads on your own, read the ebooks, plan the campaign, and begin to try to learn all of this stuff yourself? Aren't you already responsible for holding down the workload of 2, 3 full-time jobs already? It's time you contact our trusted team of media experts at ADX Digital. We are your trusted team for community partnerships and radio marketing, and a comprehensive list of opportunities available for you in the online digital marketing space. We invite you to email us today at connect@adxdigitalmarketing.com to get started on your path to a digital marketing partnership.
ADX Digital, your comprehensive digital marketing partners.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in physics, I learned that I'm a loser.
Today in school, I learned that I'm ugly and useless. And in gym, I learned that I'm pathetic and a joke. In history, I learned that I'm trash.
Today in school, I learned that I have no friends. In English, I learned that I make people sick. And at lunch, I learned that I sit on my own because I smell. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me.
In biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid. And in math, I learned that I'm trash.
The only thing I didn't learn in school today?
The only thing I didn't learn today.
The only thing I didn't learn
is why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
Calling all sports aficionados in Pensacola. Get ready for an unparalleled sports talk experience. Tune in to The Rich Eisen Show exclusively on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM. Every weekday from 11 to 2 p.m., Rich Eisen brings you the most compelling sports stories, captivating interviews, and thought-provoking discussions. With his extensive knowledge and charismatic style, Rich keeps you on the edge of your seat. Tune in to The Rich Eisen Show on ESPN Pensacola and elevate your sports IQ.
Local, state, and national sports scores and opinions on ESPN Pensacola Sports Drive. Starting now.
Welcome back in to Sports Drive with Kate. I'm your host, Kate Thomas, and this is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. In the first half hour, we had one of our friends joining us talking some NFL football, Colin Jeter. We have Michael Lewis, former New Orleans Saint. They call him the quote-unquote beer man over there, is still a part of the New Orleans Saints organization as one of their ambassadors. Was with that Super Bowl team back in 2010 and still loves the game of football, right now currently coaches, and just is always doing anything and everything. I hope that's an appropriate introduction for you, Michael. Thank you so much for joining the show today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for being a part of it. First off, a Merry Christmas to you and your family, and Happy Holidays. How was you all's holiday break and season so far?
Pretty good, pretty good. Can't complain about anything. You know what I'm saying? You know, Merry Christmas to you and yours. You know what I'm saying? And everybody that's listening. You know what I'm saying? I hope y'all had a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays as well. It was great. I cannot complain. You know, always being around family, you know, is a great thing. So, you know, it was wonderful.
No, you know, you bring up such a good point, and it truly is. Even for all the players and athletes who even have to play during Christmas, I know sometimes they're on the road, but they get to do some family stuff after. I have to ask you this, because one team who probably got to actually do some Christmas activities with their families is the New Orleans Saints, because they played on Thursday night of this week. Were you able to go out and attend that game?
No, I didn't go to the game. I actually watched it. I wound up staying back. I had an event to do on that Tuesday in New Orleans. Actually, I was at Keesler Air Force Base. That's where I went. I did something with the USO tour for the troops and stuff like that. So I went over there to visit the troops and things. So that's why I kind of stayed back and did that, then go into the game.
Well, it's always important to support our troops. We love that here in Pensacola. We have a huge military base. We're the home of the Blue Angels. I'm sure you've seen them. The flight team that takes off and flies so close together. I can't think of how exactly close, but it's a matter of inches. Michael, I had the chance to see their air show for the first time actually this past year. So that's a sport in itself on a whole other level outside of football that we can get into later. Again, if you are just tuning in, this is ESPN Pensacola. I'm Kate Thomas, and we're talking with Michael Lewis, former New Orleans Saints, still a huge part of the Saints organization, was on that Super Bowl championship team. So we got to talk Saints, obviously, Michael. You know, you were part of the organization, still a huge part of being involved with them. I don't know how much you've been in the building this year and how much you've been around the program necessarily this year. But to me, something feels slightly off with the New Orleans Saints as far as kind of the chemistry, not on the defensive side of the ball, but I'm really just talking about just kind of relationship-wise in the locker room. Really offensively, it doesn't seem like they're clicking. I don't think Derek Carr's the answer. I don't know, if Dennis Allen is the coach. And I'm just speaking from just what I think. I'm not trying to, say anything bad about anyone, but I don't know if those are the pieces of the puzzle that the Saints need. This is a team that since the Super Bowl has kind of struggled to really find that dominance. They found it a couple of years, but then, had Super Bowl chances taken away from them due to certain things. So what is going on in your mind with the Saints right now?
I haven't been in the organization as much as I used to, but I don't know. I'm puzzled just as well, watching the game, even going back home watching it, live, being on the sideline and stuff like that. Yeah, the chemistry, man, I don't know where it's at. I mean, at some time you look like the chemistry is like, okay, they got the chemistry. Then next is like, you know what I'm saying? Like what's really going on? And I know we talk about, Coach Allen and stuff like that, and you hear everything from the outside. But from the inside, like I always told people, I was a fan before I was a player, so I got a chance to see both sides. So we really don't know what's really going on the inside part of the organization when it comes down to that part. And just being, on the outside as of now and watching, you know what I'm saying, you don't know, what it is. Is it the quarterback or is it the coaching? You know what I'm saying? You try to put things together, you know what I'm saying, which we don't know. I just never could get, why we're not where we should be. And I think overall on paper, and I always say on paper, we're way better the team than what we're putting out there on the field. So, I don't know what it is, what they need to do to get things together, but right now, what we got going on, that's not it.
Yeah, no, it's not it. You look at actually a lot of the recent wins. I'm looking at just the overall schedule from this year. There's been a lot of close games this year for the Saints. For me, Dennis Allen, as a head coach, I just believe some of the coaching decisions and play calls he's made have not maybe been the most intelligent. But again, we all, yes, are human, make mistakes, but he gets millions and millions of dollars to get paid to do so. So you would hope that he starts kind of making better ones like that. What I worry is that now the Saints, they sit at 8-7. They go on the road next year next week to face the Bucks. They're right now, Tampa Bay's they're ahead at the NFC South, and the Saints are second. So that's a must win for the Saints going to Tampa. I want to talk more about this, and then maybe let's dive into that. We'll take a quick break right here. Currently, you are listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. I'm your host, Kate Thomas, and we're on the line with Michael Lewis. We're going to continue that conversation here in a couple of minutes. But before we do, if you are familiar with hurricanes, and I know Michael, he is one, actually had to move out of his home in Louisiana for, I don't even know if you're completely back there yet, but for a long period of time. So there's this fabric out there. It's called Cat 5 Hurricane Fabric. And if you want to protect your home or business from hurricanes or bad storms that we all get down here in the Panhandle and in Louisiana, if you played for the Saints, and really just down here, down south, the best time to do it is outside of hurricane season, which is now, and outside of Christmas season, actually, probably as well, which is also officially now. So get Cat 5 Hurricane Fabric to protect your home. It's 55% stronger than all other hurricane fabrics out there, and that's because it's made with this material called AstroGuard. So what this lightweight hurricane fabric material does is they'll do a free estimate at your home, and right now they've also got a 10% discount going on. It can save you up to 20 to 40% in annual insurance saving, but they undo this lightweight material and they clip it on, so it's really easy to take on and to take off. And again, it will protect your home from everything you need and all the hurricane protection and storm protection you need during hurricane season, while we all have bad storms, as we all know we have down here. Go to cat5hurricanefabric.com to find out more. It's the number 5 hurricanefabric.com, Cat 5 Hurricane Fabric, to find out all of your hurricane protection needs.
Escape to the Pony Gentlemen's Club at 500 East Gregory Street. Enjoy extended happy hour and enticing drink specials from noon to 7, Tuesday through Saturday. Doors open at 7 p.m. on Mondays and Sundays. Show a local event ticket for complimentary entry and savor exclusive signature cocktails. Elevate your nights where sophistication meets indulgence. The Pony Gentlemen's Club.
This message is sponsored by the Florida A&M University Medical Marijuana Education and Research Initiative, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Mary on Demand is live. Start your marijuana education journey today and learn more with Mary on Demand. Take the self-guided education series at your own pace. You'll decide what you'd like to learn and when. Visit mary.famu.edu to learn more. That's mmeri.famu.edu. Mary, educate, learn, talk.
Hi, this is Curtis Stone. Now, I've cooked a lot of food in my day. Steaks, salads, pasta, seafood, chicken, soup, sandwiches. I mean, you name it, and I've prepared it thousands of times. But even I can't cook enough to feed all of the 17 million kids in America struggling with hunger. That's 1 out of every 5 children. Now, luckily, there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food produced right here in America to feed every last one of those hungry kids. The only problem is getting it to them. That's where the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks comes in. They gather up surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families all across the country. We call them food angels, and you can be a food angel too. Come on, earn your wins by supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey, son. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
If you're worried your friend may be struggling, remember, you don't have to be there to be there.
You can say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You can ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You can ask on your couch while you binge watch.
Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and the JED Foundation.
Mike Greenberg. Greeny. Weekday mornings, 9 to 11 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to the Sports Drive.
Just pick up your telephone and dial.
Call or text your thoughts to 850-623-1330.
Welcome back into Sports Drive with Kate. I'm your host, Kate Thomas. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Thank you so much for joining me on the morning after Christmas morning. So, Merry Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, Happy Holidays. If not, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all the things that are out there. And we have a new year coming up very soon. On the line with us, if you are tuning in, Michael Lewis, former New Orleans Saints, still a New Orleans Saints ambassador, coaching right now and does so much in his career, gives so much back to his community, was part of that Super Bowl championship run with the Saints back in 2010. Happy holidays, Michael, and thank you for joining us today. Such a pleasure to have you.
Happy holidays, same to you.
If you want to call in, ask Michael a question, you can. Just give us a ring, 850-623-1330. That's the number to dial, 850-623-1330. Give us a call. Join in on the conversation this morning. You can also text in that same number as well. So before we hit the break, we started to get into some conversation about the New Orleans Saints. And before we hit that all the way, we are doing a YouTube and Facebook live stream right now, video live stream. So you can catch us. If you want to catch us on YouTube, just go to ESPN Pensacola 1330. If you want to catch us on our social media channels, just go to @ESPN Pensacola. You can catch us live streaming. Say hi. Get in on the comment box. I'm waving to the camera right now. Looks like we do have a caller. We'll go ahead and take that. Well, we may have had one. The phone line quit lighting up, but if you do want to call in, 850-623-1330. Okay, Michael, let's talk about the Saints. Before we went into the break, I was kind of asking you what you thought. What's going on with the New Orleans Saints this year? I kind of feel like it's this story that we hear every year, year after year, as people who are part of the Who Dat Nation and all the glory that it brings, but it brings a lot of chaos, a lot of sad moments, a lot of victorious moments, just all kind of things. I think that's why everybody loves sports, but I realize it's not as bad to be a Saints fan as it is to be fans of some other teams like the Jets or the Browns or the Cowboys or any of those others out there. So that's just where I stand right now. So it does look like we do have a caller. Let's see if we can get this one in. Good morning. How are you? And who do we have? You're live on air with myself and Michael Lewis. Good morning. I'm sorry.
Merry Christmas
I had.
to you guys.
Hey, I'll have to have you restart. Good morning. How are you? And who do we have this morning?
This is Tim.
Hey, Tim. How are you doing?
Doing well. Merry Christmas to you guys.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Hey, I just wanted you to talk a little bit about your time in New Orleans and the championship season that you had and the time afterwards. What do you see sort of as the difference between what is a Super Bowl team versus the team that gets to the championship game or loses it on a penalty or whatever? You know, is there a chemistry involvement in there? Do you feel that going into the season or during the season at some point in time that, man, we just don't have that role that we had going into last season? You know, that type of stuff. I mean, is that something we're talking about, you know, this year, the Saints, you know, they're so close on so many ways. Defense is great. Then all of a sudden they'll just, you know, let things go. What do you feel as a player? Do you see that stuff type, you know, coming? It's like, man, we just don't have it, or man, we got this thing. Let's keep rolling with it. You know, I'll hang up and listen. I was just curious as to your thoughts. Okay.
Thank you, Tim. We appreciate it. Michael, I'll let you go ahead and take that one away.
Yes. So as a player, it's all about chemistry or whatever, and it just
go ahead.
Yes, it doesn't happen overnight, and that's one of the things that you know you don't have. So I'll get back to when I first got there with Coach Payton and Drew and all those guys came in 2006 when Coach Payton took over. We made it to the NFC Championship game, and the next year, they didn't do as well. So, your coach is starting to bring guys in and release guys and things like that with the new coaching staff. So those are the things that's going on. You got guys that stay, guys that leave. All the teams, the Super Bowl team, I say that was a team that really gelled together. And it starts from the top, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, the main person that kept everything, going the way that it was, you start off with the head coach and then it breaks down, like Drew, locker room plays a big part in that with guys and things like that. So you got to gel as a team. And I always tell people, I said, when you're playing professional sport, you're around those guys just as much as you're around your own family. So they becomes your family, throughout that time. So I don't know what's going on in the locker room or how, things are, with the team that we have now. But those teams that went to the that got knocked out of going to the NFC Championship or in the playoffs because of calls and things like that, those teams were Super Bowl bound teams. You know what I'm saying? One play away from being in the NFC Championship game or making it to the Super Bowl. So you have those things. The team that we have now, when we first started off, looking on paper, you're looking at like, okay, we got things in place. We got our offense, we got the weapons, we got all these things like that. The defense looking good. Injury plays a part in a lot of stuff. So, you got to look at that, guys, not being on the team at times and then coming back. But the biggest problem with all of that is once they get back, I always say the word is next man up. Regardless of what happens, the next man got to step up and produce. And that's something that I'm not seeing this year. And I'm not saying with the guys, I'm just talking about as an overall. When you look at it, on the defensive side, we're playing great. And then next thing we're giving up, big plays or stuff like that. On the offensive side, we're not scoring, and right now that's the problem with the NFL. A lot of people don't really understand is it's an offensive-minded game right now. Everybody's trying to score. It's about scoring points, and that's what we haven't been doing. And most of the games that we have lost has been about a touchdown away, or we'll miss a field goal to win, or to go into overtime, or something like that. those things are not gelling like when we went to the Super Bowl. We was getting those calls, we was getting those plays, we was getting those different things. So those things was, working for us, and right now they're not. So, I mean, just looking at it overall from a fan's perspective, you're looking to get rid of people like, why are we doing this? Or, get rid of the coach and all of those different things. I mean, I never was a fan of, saying, get rid of the coach or whatever, because like I said, everybody has a job to do or whatever. But when you're not doing your job, that's the things that happen. So, that's going to fall on the New Orleans Saints organization with that. And then you got, which quarterback, it's his first year here, trying to learn a new offense and things like that. So, there's a lot of things that you can point out that's not happening or whatever, And then you got some good things going on, and next minute you don't. So, those guys got to ball together as a team and sit down and work things out or whatever they need to do to make those things happen. And they got to do it fast because, like I said, you only got 2 games left. And it's one that's coming to the big game. You lose, you're really out. You know what I'm saying? You win, you still have a slight chance of still winning the division. Because then you have Atlanta that last game at home, and then you're hoping Tampa lose the next 2 games to put you in that predicament to actually wind up probably winning the division and making the playoffs. So that's how I feel about the situation and what's going on right now with the organization.
There's so many points and different things that you brought up. Look, I do think there is, whether we can see it or not, I think there's an obvious reflection on the field that maybe they're not clicking on all cylinders. I'll word it that way. We can clearly see it, but last week, I don't really want to make excuses because I feel like, in sports, really coaches hate that. They don't want to hear an excuse, but it was a short week for the Saints, and they tried to make, a late rally in the fourth, but ultimately they couldn't get away with a win against the Rams. They go on the road this week. They face Tampa Bay. Like you said, this is a must win. Tampa Bay's been on fire right now. They are 4th in the NFC overall. They're top of the NFC South in their division. And now the Saints have to go play them on the road, which we just discussed, I think, a little bit earlier, just how they haven't been playing as well on the road. What's going to be the biggest challenge in your eyes, Michael? And again, if you're just tuning in, we're talking with Michael Lewis, the beer man from the New Orleans Saints, on ESPN Pensacola. What's going to be the biggest challenge for the Saints as they go in to Tampa and face the Bucs this weekend?
Really, the biggest thing is to stop their offense, and we need to get our thing together on our offensive side as well. So we have to score points, and I can say this as a former player, playing in that division. And people laugh and everything. Like right now, the division don't look good.
According to the records, right?
Overall, the whole division. You know what I'm saying? Like we're literally fighting with the top 3 teams, and that's us, Tampa, and Atlanta, to win the division just to get into the playoffs or whatever. And that's what's so crazy about the whole situation is one of the strongest divisions. But this year, you know what I'm saying? Nobody has played up to par, but then, like I said, but once you get in the playoff, I don't care what your record is, it's 0-0, and that's all it is about getting to the postseason. Because once everything just starts from scratch. But going into this game against Tampa Bay this year, I just think that this week, I just think that everything has to be on all cylinders, and I'm talking about offense, defense, and special teams. And the biggest thing that also hurt us a lot too is penalties. Penalties been a big thing, and those things hurt too as well. And that's been a problem for us on both sides of the ball. So I just think that going in there, the defense got to, hold Baker Mayfield and them down to a certain amount of points, which they have been doing. And I cannot complain about the defense because the defense been holding teams down to small amounts of points. But the biggest thing is that we have to score on offense.
We have to. We have to. And a lot more if we want to, even have a shot. We're going to have to do a lot of that going up against the Bucks this upcoming weekend. Michael Lewis joining us here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. This is Sports Drive with Kate. I'm your host, Kate Thomas. We've been talking with Michael this whole half hour. You can always tune in, watch the stream later. But, Michael, do you want to give a prediction on that game? We've got about 30 seconds or so left.
Yeah. I give a prediction. You know what I'm saying? Most people are going to think I'm crazy, but I'm thinking we're going in there this game, and we're going to win. I think we're going to win this game 27-24. It's always a close game, but that's what I'm predicting.
All right. Well, you talked about scoring points. They better score some points. If that's your prediction for the Saints and the Bucks, that's coming up. Must-win game to win the NFC South title. Thank you so much, Michael Lewis on the line. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year to you all. This is Sports Drive with Kate right here on ESPN Pensacola.